Hey guys, what's going on? It's David Nuno here, TexAgs Rewind. Just being a little quiet here.
I need some energy. It's time to beat the hell out of Kentucky.
Yeah! Where's my white shirt? I need the white out. I need
to
wear it. Sorry for yelling into your screens. We're presented by T-Mobile, by the way. They want to remind you, yes, you. If there's a bunch of you watching together, the one in the middle, to go to T-Mobile.com/across America to learn more how you can get value and coverage through T-Mobile. All right, on the show, it's going to be wild at Reed Arena. We know that. It's going to be crazy. We need you to be a part of it, but we talked about that atmosphere there at Reed Arena to start off the show during the Go Hour. Nick Rousch joined us from KSR. He knows the Kentucky point of view, had to get his thoughts on how they've done it so far, recruiting country with Ryan Brauninger, who didn't like 80s music or 80s TV shows or 80s movies, which was very strange, especially with Different Strokes being one of the greatest shows ever. Webster, Alf, I don't know what he's talking about. He's off the boat there. Also, Keith Sanchez from the Draft Network, high praise for DeMarvin, Isaiah, Kenyan Green, and really high praise for Michael Clemens. It's TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. On each play, it's about us, not them.
Well, I think that this Texas A&M team knows what makes them successful and knows what areas in which they struggle. And it's pretty, nothing's ever 100% in all the games, but because the Missouri game, they didn't shoot well from 3-point and still won. But for the most part, it's pretty consistent formula.
Sure.
They've got to shoot the three well. They've got to take more shots than their opponent, and they've got to make points in transition while playing good defense. And when they do that, obviously minimize turnovers. When they do that, they're successful. But when they're also giving up offensive rebounds, which they have a problem with, then they're in trouble. And I think that's Buzz yesterday said the most important thing to him, I think he called it the volcano rock part, but the most important thing is to limit Kentucky's points in transition because they score like every 12 seconds.
By the way, that's one of A&M's strengths of their offense when they score early in the shot clock as well. So it could end up being one of those kind of fast shootout kind of games.
So but he wants to try to slow them down.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to do a better job than they've usually done for A&M on the defensive glass, because you got the big guy from Kentucky leads the SEC in rebounds, almost 15 a game, and he's a good shooter. So if he's getting second and third chances, he's going to more than likely convert them. So that's a big concern.
But if that's what he does, and A&M is not a good rebounding team, do you put your emphasis in other places? Maybe because he's going to get his 13, 14, 15 regardless. It's everybody else that I think you add to that really hurts you. And, of course, in crunch time, if it's a close game, you got to limit whoever you can limit. But he's going to find a way to get his 15 and 15.
Well, if you keep him to 15 and 15, you might feel like you've done the job.
Yeah.
But if he's averaging 15, the way A&M, let's be honest, the way A&M has been on the defensive boards, then he may have 20 rebounds or more because he's that dominant. And if A&M makes it a close games so often come down to free throws. Kentucky, I think, is the SEC leading
free throw
shooting team. A&M is not. A&M might be last.
I think they are. But you know what? They've hit some big ones at the end of games.
They do. But if you make the early ones when they're at the time when they're not so big, then maybe if you don't, there may not be a reason to make a big free throw late in the game.
They are an exciting NBA-looking team, as you would expect from Coach Cal. What makes them so good this year?
They're a little bit different this year. Typically, Cal's heavily invested in the one and dones. That's no secret. But this year, he went out to the transfer portal to get a lot of his talent. And Oscar Tshiebwe has been one of college basketball's most pleasant surprises this year. He is a rebounding machine, although he doesn't like you to call him a machine, but he has been absolutely dominant. I mean, he's got multiple 20-point rebounding games. He broke Shaq's Rupp Arena rebounding record with 28. I believe that was against Western Kentucky. He's been a monster. And I think another kind of secret to their success is, in addition to the transfers, Davion Mintz was from Creighton. He was there last year. Xavier Wheeler, a former A&M commit who went to Georgia, he's been key to that. But when Wheeler got injured, he got hurt down at LSU, missed almost that entire game, and then 2 more. It forced true freshman Ty Washington to move over from the 2 guard to the point, and you really saw his confidence. You really saw a lot of growth from him in those 2 games, one of them which he set the UK single game assist record with 17 to surpass John Wall's mark. So that's when you know you're doing something right, when you got guys breaking Shaq records and John Wall records.
And I don't know, where do we start? Can we start with Perk? Is there anything there to talk about?
Look, so I was actually thinking about this morning. The beauty of working for TexAgs and working for Billy is there's no kind of expectation that if there's nothing happening that we've got to pull something out from somewhere to write a story to fulfill some kind of quota. You know, Billy and Brandon have never given us that, Jason and I. And I like that because I think there are people that work for the big networks that I think they have to fill some kind of quota in terms of content pieces per week.
Update us now. There's nothing.
So when there's nothing going on, there's nothing going on. So I think a lot of this stuff. Now, look, Perk went to Florida. Nope, not trying to skirt that at all. And that's one of your highest rated commits taking visits elsewhere, 2 weeks until signing day. But we knew Perk was going to Florida. Perk is going to have positive things to say about not just Perk, any kid that takes a trip in the SEC West on an official visit. Guess what they're going to say on the other side?
It was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Great
they had some stuff that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
It's a new coaching staff there in Gainesville with a lot of new energy. That being said, and he's going to come back from Hawaii this week where he's out the Polynesian Bowl with 3 or 4 A&M kids that are there as well. He's going to come back, and then there's a chance he's going to go to a midweek to LSU and then a weekend trip to Miami. So, he's not done. But we knew Perk was going to do this stuff whenever he committed to A&M, so it shouldn't surprise anybody.
Yeah.
Now, what we're trying to gauge is what is it, what's real, what's him just taking visits. As of today, I'm sitting here talking about this. I have not been given any indication that A&M, it's, red flags are up. We've got to get to Houston as soon as we can, or we got to get him face-to-face as soon as we can to quell all this momentum and all this kind of stuff. A&M's doing a really good job. They have met with members of his family, even when Perk's not in Houston. A&M's meeting and talking to people on Zoom, all that kind of stuff. And it was mainly DJ Durkin introducing himself to the real relationships that matter in Perk's recruitment. Those are relationships that Tyler Santucci's built for well over a year now. And Tyler Santucci is the linchpin in that recruitment for A&M. And now you're adding DJ Durkin into those conversations with the folks around Perk that really matter. Now, when Perk gets back from Hawaii, there will be a sit-down. A&M will meet with him when he gets back. It'll be Santucci, Durkin, and I was told that he's got one more face-to-face with Jimbo. So, and that's kind of what I put on the site was this is A&M's plan for the last couple of weeks. This is how it's going to go. And you're going to have Jimbo trotting out of the bullpen like Mariano Rivera in the 9th inning to close this thing down. And anytime that you're in that position, you're in a good spot to win the recruitment.
So I saw that during the season you had a piece on DeMarvin Lee Allen and just a heart of that defense, one of the obviously best players in the SEC defensively out there. What stood out to you during the season about him to write so glowingly about?
Yeah, man, I think this guy just has rare athleticism. When you're talking about being 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds, at Texas A&M, he played every position on the defensive line. He was a stand-up edge rusher. He was an interior guy. He's physical against the run. He can rush the passer. So I just really love this guy's game. The D-line coach, Elijah Robinson, did a great job developing his skill set. And I just think he's a game wrecker. When you talk about guys in the NFL like Chris Jones, that was my comparison because you see the difference in the Kansas City Chiefs defense when Chris Jones is on the field and when he's off the field. And I think DeMarvin Leal can have that type of impact for a defense for sure.
So where do you see some fits when the draft comes in that first round? Do you have any spots that you see him fitting in nicely?
Man, I'm thinking of guys at the top end of the draft. Every team should take him. First of all, he fits everywhere. But the top end of that draft, I think if you're the Giants, you're still looking for a defensive identity. They just need good football players. And when you throw it back to when the Giants were really good, is because they had guys like Justin Tuck, Michael Strahan, O.C. Umenyiora, just really dominant defensive line guys up front. So I think that would be a really good fit. And I think if he's able to go to the Giants fans should be really excited about that. And then I know we in the Aggie Nation, so I know there's some Texans fans on there. So that'll be a pretty good pick too if he goes to the Texans. And when you think about Mario Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, and J.J. Watt, they have a history of drafting defensive linemen high in the draft, and those guys turn out to be really good football players.
Could you see him going as high as number 3? Or are you thinking the Texans would trade back?
Me personally, I would take him because I haven't seen that rare skill set in a while. It's been since the Gerald McCoys, the Ndamukong Suhs of guys that's dominant on the interior defensive line. And like I said, man, at A&M, he plays edge rusher at 6'4", 300 pounds. That's hard to find. And he gives a good pass rush, but I think his best position would be on an interior defensive line where he can convert speed to power and overwhelm these offensive guards. Like, I don't think very many offensive guards have seen guys with the Marvin Lil speed and power and just ability just to get off the ball and rush the passer from the interior for sure.
Keith Sanchez with us here from the Draft Network on the BCSI hotline. Keith, not far behind him. I know you had a mock draft recently. Kenyan Green, I believe, a spot or two afterwards. Give us the rationale there and where you see him in the draft.
Yeah, man, this guy really earned my respect when I watched him and evaluated him. And it's because he played everywhere. He played everywhere, so you know that he's a very smart player. He's instinctual. And it seems as though Jimbo Fisher, anytime y'all had a guy go down, he just pointed towards Kenyan Green, was like, hey, go fill that hole. And he did it at a very high level. And then the game that I was most excited to watch was obviously the Alabama game. And Kenyan Green, him and Will Anderson, they had an epic battle. And I'll say this, Kenyan Green did more than hold his own. He actually dominated the game. And it's crazy because usually left tackle is the hardest position to play. Traditionally, Kenyan Green is probably a guard as far as his frame, but he played great at left tackle. You've seen the quick feet. You've seen him explosive. He comes off the ball. And my number one thing with an offensive lineman is, does he have that mean streak? And Kenyan Green has it. He tries to push you in the ground, finish you, and he's hoping that you don't get back up.
So I'm looking at your draft rankings right now, and I see that potentially DeMarvin going there 13. Where do you have Kenyan going?
Man, I think he's a top 10 guy too. What I think during the draft process is these guys that names pop up early, and then people, just human nature, they get, I guess, stale and they get tired of them, right? But I think as we go through the draft process, I think people come to realization that, hey, this is a really good football player, and we have to draft this guy because it's a lot of teams that need offensive linemen. Offensive linemen are rare, and then just with Kenyan Green's versatility, like I said, that's a very rare trait, and he's good at every position. I've seen him play everything but center, and he plays it at a high level. Thank you all for watching this incredible video produced by Dalton Hughes. He is so good at what he does sometimes, half the time, 3/4 of the time. He's really good. We want you to like, subscribe.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Exactly what Dalton said right there. And you're also supposed to share and get the analytics going so people like us more and they see us more and we pop up on your home screen. And then when you talk about us, your Alexa listens to it, captures the information, and makes you watch TexAgs all the time. Thank you for watching.